Entry points. You're standing in an apartment complex where, for me, this is my story. I know this isn't everyone's story, but this is my story. Humble beginnings, right? And my journey of wealth started in a 2-bedroom apartment with my 4 brothers. And could you imagine 4 boys being in one room? I mean, you can probably start smelling things, right? You're like, what's that smell? No, clean your home. No, I'm just playing. but I'm telling you, like, this is my access point. Very humble beginnings. And I want to tell you my story. Growing up in a lower socioeconomic depressed community, I didn't like the idea of owning a home was like outer space. It was like foreign language. But I believe, right, it's another principle. When we're talking about building wealth, that it's important that we learn to see beyond our realities. It's important that you know whatever your access point is, that you don't have to stay there. You're not stuck there. Regardless of your realities, regardless of your financial situation, that your realities do not determine what you're capable of reaching. And so my mom was really intentional. She was a genius. And so for Christmas, for me, this was my reality. I would get household items for Christmas, right? Like my mom would take the time, right? Like what kind of parent does this? But she would take the time, she would buy a toaster, she would buy a refrigerator, she would buy these big household items and she would wrap them, right? And so before I knew what was in these items, I remember running up the stairs. It's Christmas, there's so much joy in the room and excitement to find this big present that's wrapped, and I'm like sizing it up. I'm like, this thing looks important, it looks valuable, it's heavy. And I started wrapping, right? Like I'm just like joyously unwrapping this box to only find out that it was a microwave, right? Like what kind of 11-year-old kid gets a microwave for Christmas? I'm like, Mom, I think someone stole my Christmas toys. Like the Grinch came in and stole my toys. My mom's like, no, that's yours. That's your microwave. And she's like, you have one more too. So I'm like unwrapping the other thing, and I'm like, this bigger box that seems more important. And it's a vacuum cleaner. I'm like, Mom, I'm pretty sure that somebody stole, this is not mine. Mom says, no, it is yours. It's your vacuum cleaner. It's yours. Now, like when you have 4 brothers, like anytime your mother tells you that something is yours, right? Like you take that to heart. I'm like, this is mine? My mom's like, yeah, it's yours and you can use it whenever you want. So like this was music to my ears, right? But this was just the first part, right? It was teaching me to dream beyond what I could see. And then we would get in the car later in that evening and we would go and drive in these long drives into these beautiful neighborhoods, right? It was like these, like where there were actually Christmas lights. I know you and I have lights in we have Christmas lights in our community, but if they're up in April, my friend, those are not Christmas lights. So they have these beautiful, magnificent Christmas lights up that only come up, guess what? During Christmas time. It's amazing. And they're like brighter than any other lights that I've ever seen. There's like a speed bump to keep people from coming in, right? You know those communities. I'm trying to paint the picture. And I remember being frustrated. I'm like, why are we doing this, Mom? Right? I still had a sour taste in my mouth from getting a vacuum cleaner and a microwave, right? I'm 11 years old, people. Grace me. And I just remember saying it out loud. This is stupid. Now, my mom's old school, where you like even the thought of having an opinion is hostility, right? So like my mom stops a car, I'm like ducking because I don't want her to hit me, right? I'm grown now, you can't call CPS. Okay, so stay with me, people. My mom stops the car. And she says, son, I want you to look at that house right there. Big house, big, beautiful house. And she says, Antonio, one day, you and your brothers are going to own a home just like that. Now you can imagine 11 years old living in a 2-bedroom apartment, how that was actually true or could be true or would be true. But my mom was trying to get me to go beyond my access point. And friends, my story that I want to encourage you with is, regardless of where your entry point is, it's important that you get through the door. Just get through the door, my friends. Because you know that house that my mom was pointing to, It's identical to the house that I live in now. That big house that I thought my mom was out of her mind of proclaiming that 11-year-old living in a 2-bedroom apartment with 4 other children would ever live in a house that big with enough space for everybody to have a room seemed to be a little insane to me at the time. But what my mom was trying to teach me is that your future is not defined by your reality. Friends, just get through the door. Just get through the door and find people who can expose you to a world bigger than your own. For some of you, this may be your world, wherever your entry point is. Maybe you're starting where my house is now, and you have dreams of having something bigger and better and leaving something for your children. Get around someone that will expose you to a bigger world, because that's what my mom did for me. And friends, that's what I want to do for you. Thank you so much.
You want to get started investing, but you're not sure how. Well, we're going to help you. Come be with us at our event. It's all about investing. I'm going to leverage my 25 years of experience and help you get started, answer your questions, and inspire you to take your first step. Come be with us.